Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Breaking news. Martha Karua and Rigathi Gachagua are now the best of friends, politically speaking. They met today at Martha Karua's home. Rigathi went bearing gifts. What we answer in this video is, what does Martha expect from this alliance and what does Rigathi expect? If that is something you are keen on, stay tuned. Of course, if you're watching for the first time, take a moment, subscribe so that whenever we produce a video of this nature, YouTube will notify you. Otherwise, let us just jump right into the subject of this evening.
On a courtesy call to the Honorable Mother Karua, a distinguished leader of this republic, a defender of human rights, a senior counsel, an experienced public servant who has rendered distinguished service to this republic.
It's a great day indeed. We have joined hands with my brother.
Like I said, Martha Karua got visitors from Wamunyoro. Rigathi Gachagua carried a few friends, trusted friends, and went and visited Martha Karua. What you might have realized, it was very odd, considering that in most cases, it is people visiting Rigathi at his home. They even say that Rigathi's home, the Wamunyoro's residence, is busier than even State House. And so you might be wondering, how comes Martha did not just visit Rigathi at his home like other leaders are doing? And I can tell you, it is a case of desperation meeting ego. Rigathi is desperate. He wants Mount Kenya leaders to be fully behind him, and he is willing to do anything to get that. Martha Karua has an ego from here to Timbuktu. There is no way Martha Wangari Karua will walk from her home to go to Rigathi's home. So you have to go to her. But it is a symbiotic relationship. That is what Martha expects to gain from this relationship, and so does Rigathi. So what does Martha expect to gain? First, remember Martha Karua was a running mate in the last election, and so was Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi Gachagua went ahead to become the second deputy president. Martha Karua lost that race. These two people have gone against each other in ways that you wouldn't believe. Martha Karua painted Rigathi as somebody who should not be near any leadership position, and she's always maintained that Rigathi is the worst person in terms of leaders. And you remember, Rigathi wiped the floor with Martha Karua. He did not hold back. He painted the lady from Kirinyaga as the worst of the worst. But that is not the point, because we've seen politicians, ladies and gentlemen, they always call each other names, they can tear into each other, but when their interests are aligned, then things change. They start calling each other my brother, my sister, and everything. That is normal world over. Politicians, as long as their interests are aligned, they are the best of buddies. They can even call each other childhood friend. But if their interests are at loggerhead, they can even go after each other in very little ways. So that is not a big deal. The question is, what is this interest? What is it that Martha Karua expects to get by hanging out with the likes of Rigathi Gachagua? Well, Martha Karua has accepted that Rigathi Gachagua has a lot of influence in Mount Kenya. Like I told you, the people of Murima, after rejecting Ruto for bringing Raila on board, they needed a leader who shared in that, who shared their beliefs, and Rigathi offered himself. Of course, it costed Rigathi his seat, but then Rigathi gained the support of the people who otherwise would have not even considered him as a leader to begin with. Now that he has that influence in Mount Kenya, is planning to use it. And one person who has seen that she can also take advantage of it is one Martha Karua. Karua, after realizing that Raila was going to work with Ruto, left Azimio. Remember, she is the first person to officially say that they left Azimio, because Karua had believed that Raila would have continued, and then they go into 2027 as the same ticket they were in 2022. She has that desire to be the first deputy president, the first female deputy president, or maybe even a president of the republic one day. In this case, she's seeing that opportunity through Rigathi, that if she sticks with Rigathi Gachagua, she can either get one of these. She can either be the candidate Mount Kenya is going to unite behind, because assuming Rigathi does not win court cases and is locked out, and so he cannot vie, Martha is looking at this opportunity. I could be Rigathi's surrogate, be the person Rigathi works behind. The same thing Muturi is gunning for. So Martha is like, okay, I can support the man I don't agree with as long as I can get my wish of being either a running mate in 2027 or even a candidate in some scenarios. But two, the governorship of Kirinyaga is opening in 2027 because Waiguru is retiring. She would have served her 2 terms by then. So what happens? Martha is also looking at, if I get the endorsement of Rigathi for this seat of governor, then my chances are I will win. And so she is going for either of these. Either she's going for the national, she's going to fight it at the national stage with Rigathi's backing, meaning if Rigathi was to endorse Kalonzo, then Karua might be the running mate. If Rigathi was to endorse Matiang'i or whoever, then Karua is the running mate from Mount Kenya. But if those were not to happen, and let's say Rigathi has other plans, Karua is ready to settle for the governorship of Kirinyaga. Either way, she wins. Now, that is for Martha Karua. That is what Martha Karua is aiming to get out of this newfound relationship. What about Rigathi? What does Rigathi want? Rigathi, like I've told you in several videos, has only one goal. Rigathi wants to be the Raila of Mount Kenya. You see, in Luo Nyanza, the Odingas are not questioned when it comes to politics. They can decide who becomes an MP where, who becomes a governor where. People will complain, but eventually they comply and do as told by the Odingas. Rigathi admires that. He really admires that. There was a day he was even saying, we don't agree with this Mzee, but you see the kind of people he sends to parliament. He didn't say the kind of people Luos vote into parliament. He was like the kind of people Raila sends to parliament. So he admires how Raila is in total control of Luoland, and he desires that. Unfortunately for him, it's not going to be very easy because in Luo Nyanza, politics is trickle down. In Central or Mount Kenya, politics is bottom up. And what do I mean? In Luo Nyanza, there's that leader at the top who decides the fate of the community. In Mount Kenya, however, the people decide what their leaders would do. And they have been like that for a long time. I am not saying it is not possible for Mount Kenya to turn into another Luo Nyanza, but that is what Rigathi desires. He desires to have that. And the more leaders he can bring behind him, the less opposition he will have. And so by bringing in Martha, he is removing a very serious critic, somebody who will not shy away from calling Rigathi out and discussing him in the most disparaging manner. Martha Karua is a very outspoken human being. And so Rigathi is looking at, let me contain her now. And this will continue. Rigathi will take himself to any leader. If possible, he will arrange for a meeting with Uhuru Kenyatta. He wants everybody behind him in Mount Kenya so that he has the control he has always desired. Remember, if he controls Mount Kenya the way Raila controls Luo Nyanza, Rigathi will never need to vie. All he would do is to make money and make political decisions for the community. He will actually bargain with the community, not for the community. That is what is going on here, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion. What do you think? If somebody asked you, why would Martha and Rigathi work together? They don't like each other. What would you say? Otherwise, if you found value in this video, drop a like, comment, share with friends. Anyway, If you want to know why any coalition regarding Gachagua will form will never compete with the coalition between Raila and Ruto, watch this video.